one. Now that I've had the Supra back for a couple weeks, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about the mods that I got, the horsepower that it made, and what you can expect with a similar build. So let's jump into it. Before I start, big shout out to Performance Playground Engineering in Austin, Texas. They're close to Austin, Texas. They're the ones who did all the work here, all the install, put all the parts on, helped me get the parts. They were super patient, very easy to deal with, and will get right to you anytime you need to talk to them. That's their logo right there. So if you're in the Texas area or around and you're looking for somebody to deal with your Supra, these guys are a must. So anytime you go to build a car, any reputable tuner is going to ask you, what's your goals? And any platform I've been on, whether it was my GTR, my Hellcats, any of the cars that I've dealt with, even with this A90, my goal has always been, I want safe, reliable horsepower, but keep it at a safe level, so I want to be able to go out, enjoy the car, enjoy it on the street, which is what it was meant for, but have safe, reliable horsepower. So those were my goals going into this build. So just kind of understand that when we start talking about numbers, because with the setup that I have, we have room for more horsepower. Even on the dyno graphs and all that, we have room to turn it up. We have plenty of space, and we can actually take advantage of it further in the future if I decide to do that. So let's talk about the mods that we've got on this. As you can see, this is our dyno graph. This was actually done on a dyno jet. I didn't actually get the printout, or I didn't print it, but I'm showing you on my computer now. As you can see, the max power here is 723 to the wheels, with max torque at 705. So you can see how beautiful this graph just goes up. It's very even, very level, flows really well, which is good. So you have really good onset of power, and you really notice that when you're in the car. So again, like I said, we have a lot of room where we could turn this up, but we just haven't, because I wanted safe, reliable horsepower. So as far as our fuel system here, I went with the Visconti sequential port injection kit. I opted for these 660C injectors. So they do make a 1050. I should have probably got the bigger ones at the time. I was just going based on what the forums were told. So I actually bought these parts before I even ever made it into the shop, but it actually comes with all of these things in that kit. Next, for the ignition, we put in TMS and GK spark plugs. Our exhaust, we did a full Titan Motorsports titanium exhaust, which is valved. As far as the transmission, we did the Jack 750 transmission upgrade, which means it'll handle about 750 horsepower. So if I wanted to go stage 2 with the Jack's transmission, I would need to kind of go in for a rebuild. We discussed that as well. And I also did the DSS axles. So we got the upgraded axles to make sure that the car won't break if we're at the track. For suspension, I went with the Airlift 3H with the 4-gallon tank. We have the KW electronic dampening cancellation kit. We went with Mickey Thompson ET Street SS and a Titan 7 drag pack. It's the 17-inch wheels, so that's the actual drag pack that's on the car. They look beautiful. I love the bronze that's on there. And these tires, with the horsepower that we're running, actually hook extremely well. I haven't really noticed any wheel spin or none that I can really feel when I'm behind the wheel. As far as the induction, so our forced induction section, I had purchased at first a Pure 800. After talking to PPE here, Performance Playground Engineering, they convinced me to go with the P-Tune top mount turbo kit. So that comes with a Garrett G35 1050, and that's a 68 millimeter turbo. 3-port Mac boost solenoid, 2 towel wastegates, and a towel blow-off valve. So that all comes in that kit, along with your charge pipe and your turbo manifold and your catless downpipe. So all of that comes in this P-Tune top mount turbo kit. For the money and knowing me, I just figured I would be chasing horsepower eventually. I'd probably want to step it up just a little bit. So that's why I went ahead and went with the P-Tuned instead of the Pure 800s. People can make similar power that I'm at right now, power levels, with the Pure 800s, no problem. The difference is if you want to go further, you're gonna have to sell your pure 800 and do a top mount anyway. So I just went ahead and opted for the top mount, because now if I want to step it up, all I have to do is really change these injectors, do a transmission, the second stage upgrade on it, and maybe build the bottom end. But as far as everything else there, it's done. So this is the full build list here with what we've done to the engine. This was also tuned by Jeff Payne with Payne Tunes. Highly recommended. If you are in the Supra groups, you're definitely going to see his name thrown around a lot. He did a fantastic job tuning the car. So let's get behind the wheel and talk a little bit more about drivability. Another cool feature that's really neat is after you get your tuning done, this actually is going up right now. This is not showing me horsepower. This screen is hacked. The reason it's changing so rapidly right now is because I had to fill up with some regular 93 octane earlier, and then I just added E85 on top of that. So this is actually showing me my ethanol content. So right now, see, I'm running about an E50 blend. I have some E98 on the way, or X98 on the way, that I'm waiting on. So right now it's running about E50 with a better ethanol content. Obviously the car would get a little more horsepower. Now the torque spec right here, that's actually a reading for your turbo. So that's going to show how many pounds of boost I'm running. And you can see that goes up as my turbo spoils. Now you see actually my ethanol content, it's literally mixing while I'm taking this video. So I was running pretty low and it's starting to mix in. So I might be running about an E60 or so right now, roughly on the ethanol content. So I'm going to show you guys a couple things about driving it. As of right now, when we're driving, obviously we have the VCS off, or VSC off. That is your basically stability control, all those functions. We turn those off because the car does brake traction just a little bit, and that function will actually keep you from really digging and hooking. Right now we're in sport mode, so obviously you can hear the car, and it makes some great sounds. But what's awesome about this vehicle is, let me show you what happens, and here, I'll keep the window down, once you take it out of sport mode. So right here is our sport mode. We hit this one button, and listen. I'm letting off, barely any popping sounds. You don't get a lot of that feedback and retort that you do. It's almost like driving a completely different car, which is awesome, because if you're passing a cop or something like that, obviously you can just turn the sport mode off and it's not an aggressive car. So when we kind of go from this red light, I'll show you and put it back in sport mode so you can kind of see the difference. So from a dead stop in just normal driving mode, not a sport mode, you can see, I mean, it acts fine. I mean, it's just like driving any other car. The second you turn that sport button on, which I just hit, I mean, it just starts instantly giving you feedback. It's so much fun. I love how the car responds to you. So we're gonna take it down to what would be considered about a 40 roll. Let's kind of go into the manual mode here. It's about 40. That's a nice little punch. The torque in this car really just throws you back. I mean, it's instant torque. It just handles it very well, and the car hooks. Even from a dead stop, I've gotten the car to hook just extremely well without much traction loss that I can tell. We haven't been able to take it out to the track yet, but on a good day, running the right tire setup and right ethanol content here, we should be good, I would imagine, for mid-9s is what we'll hope for. So we're going to try to get this thing out on the track. I'm going to keep you guys updated on what it's like while we're driving. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, leave some comments in. If you have any questions about the build or the Supra in general, feel free to ask, and I will help you in any possible way. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. What?